A blue light starts spinning. 60 people drop their carts and run. Kmart did this every day for 30 years. It is what killed them. Here is everything that disappeared with it. Number 12. Price sticker guns. Every Tuesday night after close, someone had to re-sticker the entire soup aisle. Not some of it, all of it. One price change, thousands of cans, one clerk, one gun, one click per item. The Universal Product Code had existed since 1974. The technology to end this was sitting in warehouses, but major chains including A&P, Safeway, and Woolco refused to move. Consumer groups fought back harder. Several states passed laws requiring individual stickers on every product, protecting a job that was actively wasting everyone's time. The inefficiency finally won. By 1990, most national chains had converted to barcode-only pricing. The guns went into storage. One system had been running since 1896. It had already turned millions of shoppers into unpaid labor. Most of them had no idea. Number 11, S and H green stamps. You licked them, thousands of them. Small green strips handed over at the register after every grocery run. You took them home. You licked them again. You pressed them into a booklet. Booklet after booklet, for months. Why? Because someday, if you did this long enough, you could trade them in for a toaster. At the height of the program, S and H printed 3 times more stamps than the US Postal Service. 3 times. The entire volume of American mail, multiplied by 3, all going directly into kitchen drawers across the country. The math almost never worked. Most customers spent far more in qualifying purchases than the redemption value of what they got back. They were doing the work. They were providing the float. By the mid-1980s, consumers had figured it out. Redemption centers closed by the hundreds. The stamps kept arriving. The booklets stopped being filled. At the same time, in certain stores, the only thing you could actually buy was waiting. Number 10, catalog showrooms. Page 147, that's where the television was. You wrote the item number on a slip of paper. You handed it to a clerk. You sat down and you waited. Stores like Service Merchandise, Best Products, and Consumer Distributing built entire chains on this model. No floor models, nothing to touch, nothing to compare. Just a catalog, a number, and a back warehouse you would never see. Service Merchandise alone operated over 400 locations at its peak. Lower overhead meant lower prices, and for a decade that was enough. Then Best Buy opened with actual televisions on the floor. You could change the channel. You could stand between 2 models and compare them. The catalog showroom had no answer. Service Merchandise filed for bankruptcy in 1999. The book went out of print. The warehouse went dark. Meanwhile, in stores that were very much still open, your money was already in the ceiling. Number 9, pneumatic tube cash systems. Your $20 bill was somewhere above your head. The cashier loaded it into a small canister and set it in a tube. It vanished. A hiss of compressed air, and your cash was moving across the building at speed through a system in the ceiling, heading for a central office you couldn't see. Macy's used them, Sears used them, JCPenney used them. The logic was sound: keep cash away from the individual registers, reduce theft, centralized counting. But the systems jammed. Canisters cracked. On a busy Saturday, the bottlenecks got bad. Your money stalled somewhere in the ductwork, waiting behind a dozen others. Electronic registers made cash handling faster and safer without anything in the ceiling. By 1990, most stores had ripped the tubes out entirely. The ceiling went silent. But not everything they replaced was a machine. Number 8, floor walkers. Customers came back and asked for the same floor walker by name. This was someone whose only job was to find you before you found the product, to intercept you in the electronics aisle, and personally guide you through a purchase. Not a salesperson behind a counter, someone moving, watching, approaching. Macy's had them, Bloomingdale's had them. Nordstrom built its service reputation on a version of them. They were trained on every product in their section. They knew when the shipment you were waiting for was arriving. They remembered you. A large store might employ 40 people in this role. When retail margins compressed, this was the first line cut. It was replaced by part-time staff on rotating schedules who had never heard the term. The walking stopped. One kind of store was still letting you take something home before paying for it. Not everyone brought it back. Number 7. Record store listening booths. Tower Records had a padded booth with a door. You picked up an album. A clerk took it behind the counter and queued it up. You stepped inside, closed the door, put on headphones, and listened to the whole thing before spending a single dollar. Tower Records, Turtles Music, and Camelot Music offered this as standard practice. Some customers spent entire afternoons without buying anything. Store owners tolerated it. It drove genuine sales in a format where you could not know what you were getting without hearing it first. MTV changed the calculation. When consumers could hear music at home before walking into a store, the booth lost its function. CDS arrived and made quick sampling technically awkward. By the late 1980s, most chains had pulled the booths and filled the space with extra shelving. The headphones came down for the last time. In the grocery store next door, an entirely different kind of entertainment had quietly appeared in the aisles. Number 6. VHS rental corners in grocery stores. Before Blockbuster, the movie section was between the soup and the cereal. Starting around 1982, chains including Kroger and Safeway carved out entire aisles for VHS rental. Dinner ingredients and a Friday night movie in the same trip. The system was handmade, handwritten index cards, an honor system return slot near the door, permanent marker on the tape labels, 200 titles on a good day. Then Blockbuster opened in 1985 with thousands of titles, actual computer tracking, and real lighting. The grocery store had no answer. By 1989, most chains had quietly pulled the tapes. The movie section became soup again. Something else in those stores was about to disappear. This one, unlike the others, took irreplaceable things with it when it went. Number 5. 1-hour photo labs. The roll from your daughter's birthday party sat in your pocket. You dropped it at a kiosk inside your drugstore. 1 hour later, you came back. The prints were waiting. Walgreens had labs. Rite Aid had labs. Photomat ran drive-through kiosks in mall parking lots. A wooden booth, staffed by one person, handed your photos through a window. At peak, over 25,000 1-hour photo labs operated across the United States. More locations than McDonald's had at the time. The machines were expensive, the chemicals were hazardous, a scratched negative meant a lost memory, and zero revenue on that roll. Kodak introduced the first consumer digital camera in 1991. The labs started closing quietly, one by one with no announcements. By the early 2000s, the kiosks sat rotting in parking lots. The chemicals poured out, the equipment was hauled off, the memories they had held on to were not always recovered before they did. What came next had nothing to do with speed. It was built entirely on patience. Number 4. Layaway plans. You came in September. For the bicycle your son wanted for Christmas, you paid $20 and left it in the store. You came back every week. Another payment, another trip. By December, it was yours. No credit check, no interest, no bank. Just patience as a financial instrument. Sears ran it. Kmart ran it. Montgomery Ward ran it. Families planned their entire fall around the layaway calendar. The logistics were brutal for the retailer. Warehouses filled with half-paid merchandise. Items that went unpaid had to be restocked at a loss. The math worked for families, it barely worked for the stores. Then Visa and MasterCard expanded consumer credit access through the late 1980s. A bank would now let you take the bicycle home today and pay later, with interest going to the bank, not the retailer. Patience stopped feeling necessary. Kmart suspended layaway in 2001. Remember that name? Kmart. It comes back. Number 3. Smoking sections in stores. In 1982, you could light a cigarette inside a department store while browsing housewares. Woolworths had ashtrays on the counters. Malls had dedicated smoking lounges. Retailers built them because customers expected them. Through the mid-1980s, studies on secondhand smoke kept arriving. Fire chiefs started raising alarms about open flames near textile displays. Holiday merchandise and paper goods. California moved first and other states followed. By the end of the decade, smoking inside a store was illegal in most places, and the expectation itself had vanished. It became something people in their 30s could not picture themselves having accepted a few years earlier. What replaced it near the entrance was something louder. Number 2. In-store arcade corners. Near the entrance of a Kmart in 1983, there were 3 machines: Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Space Invaders. Arcade cabinets were licensed to retailers for a percentage of every quarter. The logic was clean: park the children, free the parents, and collect the coins. Major game companies marketed arcade placement programs directly to retail chains. At peak, the machines were generating real secondary income. The Nintendo Entertainment System launched in North America in 1985. 61 million units sold. Arcade-quality games, free at home. By 1988, the machines sat mostly silent. Operators pulled them as leases expired. The quarters stopped falling. Number 1. The Blue Light Special. Now you know what Kmart was building. For 30 years, the Blue Light Special was the loudest thing in American retail. A random sale, unannounced, lasting only minutes. A spinning light in aisle 7, 60 people running. At its peak, Kmart operated over 2,000 stores. The special ran daily in many of them. It worked. Customers loved it. They came in just for the chance of one. That was the problem. Random discounts had trained customers to never pay full price. Why buy today when tomorrow's surprise might be better? Kmart had spent 3 decades teaching its own shoppers not to trust its prices. Competitors watched, and they chose consistency, predictable pricing, no stampedes. By 1991, Kmart quietly retired the blue light. A revival in 2001 lasted months. The layaway counter was already closed. The arcade machines were already gone. The tubes were out of the ceiling. The most recognizable sound in American retail had been silenced by the store that invented it. Every one of these disappeared quietly. The tech products that came next went out much louder.